Rev up your engines! This particular example is a 2012 Chrysler 200. Now, it's not a bad looking car. Decent lines to it. The paint and body and the wheels, hey, they're still in pretty good shape. Ooh, and it's got dual exhaust. Look at that. They only made it from 2011 to 2017. They stopped making them. Now, to begin with, I'm not a Chrysler fan, so I always wonder, why do people buy these things? And if you look back at history, it even makes less sense. This was like a $26,000 car when it was new. Back in 2012, you could have got a brand new Toyota Camry with a V6 engine for the same price, $26,000. Why would you even think about buying one of these things? Now we open the hood. We can see it's got a big 3.6 liter V6 variable valve timing. And it's made it to inside here a 6-speed automatic transmission. Now this engine puts out 283 horsepower. So it's got reasonable amount of power. It's zippy enough. But then again, it was a Chrysler V6 engine. Now they always try to claim that they fixed the problems. This is one of the earlier ones, 2012. They started making these in 2011. And these engines had serious problems. They had various engine problems, but the main one was, seems they put substandard engine bearings in the engine that the engine internal parts ride on, the bearings. They're lubricated by oil, and they let the engine go around without seizing up. Well, a bunch of them did seize up because they didn't build them right. And that's the engine. Let's get into the transmission. 6-speed transmission called the 62TE. And it was loaded with problems. Now, of course, they claim we fixed them as time went on. Well, Scotty says they really didn't. But these had serious problems getting stuck in limp home mode, shifting poorly. So much that they had 9 design changes, software changes. And it was so bad that under class action lawsuits, Chrysler, they would waive the $100 analysis fee when you take it to the dealer, fix all the ones for free. These are called Ultra Drive transmissions, Ultra, my rear end, and they said that if they could not fix the transmissions free, they would buy the cars back from the customers. Buyback was only in the United States. They didn't offer it anywhere else. Well, 2017, they stopped making these things. They got such a bad reputation as being such junkers. As I said earlier, why anybody would have even considered buying one of these Chrysler 200s when they could have got a Camry for the same price, you'd have to be living in La La Land to pull that one off. But unfortunately, quite a few people were fooled and did buy these things. Some of them probably said, oh, let's buy American and help the American economy. You know, these things are made in Michigan. They were fooled by the looks, and when you look inside, as you can see, they're still relatively snazzy looking. Black, chrome trim, got a nice instrument panel, open screen, got the obligatory sunroof, and these seats are still pretty comfortable, I'll give them that. Plus, when we go to the back, they got a reasonable amount of room in the back, not gigantic. Yeah, it's an economy car, so there's no AC ducts coming out of the back like a nice car would. So in that respect, basically, they were selling an economy car at non-economy prices. And we pop the trunk. Still works. We can see, got a reasonably big trunk. It's comfy inside. And like I said, the fancy wheels it came with are still in decent shape. Cosmetically, it's a decent looking car. But as I've often warned people, looks can be deceiving. Very deceiving in this case. They're not dependable cars. They stopped making them after 6 years. It just kind of fell apart when people saw what clunkers they were. Engine problems, transmission problems. People ran away from these things in droves, and that's why they're not making them anymore. We'll take this one for a spin and see how it goes. So we'll go inside, start her up. It does start right up, I'll give them that. And the AC, hey, blows nice and cold, that's working. Now this particular one, even though it's 8 years old, it's only got 48,000 miles on it, which is lucky for the owner because the engine's still in good shape. It has enough mileage for it to wear out, and the same thing for the transmission. It doesn't have enough mileage that it's going to be all worn out. If this thing had 100-something thousand miles on it, it would probably be falling apart. Only having 48,000 miles, it still actually rides decent because, of course, the struts don't wear out that fast, even in a Chrysler. Now we'll give it a little gas. It's got some horsepower still, and it still shifts decent. That's how they sold these things. People want to drive fast. For a short period of time, they do run fast and pretty smooth. But this one already has serious front end problems. You can see, look at that steering wheel. It's wobbling all over the place, and we're only going 15 miles an hour. We're going to have to check that out in another video. And even with the AC running, I got the fan on low, It's a pretty quiet, smooth car, I'll give it that. But of course, looking at the overall picture, it's indefensible that they have engines with bad bearings that would go out. They have automatic transmissions that they made all these different redesigns on it because they didn't build them right in the first place. And yeah, this baby's only got 48,000 miles on it. It's running okay now, other than the front end's all messed up. Like I said, if this thing had 100-something thousand miles on it, I can guarantee you the engine wouldn't be running like that and the transmission wouldn't be shifting like it is now. It's only got 48,000 miles in 8 years. That's not any kind of a test of the longevity of a car. Now, if you absolutely positively wanted one of these things, you're looking for a used one, and you can find one with low mileage like this, you can pick them up for a song and a dance. They have no resale value since they don't make them anymore. I've had customers pick these things up for $2,000. And if they find one that's only got 40, 50,000 miles that maybe an elderly couple drove, they can be a fun car for that cheap amount of money. If you found a V6 Toyota Camry with 48,000 miles on it, you're not going to get it for $2,000. You're going to pay probably 5 or 6 times that. So in a pinch, you get one of these used cheap, if only if it had low mileage, you could have a fun little toy. But I pity the people who bought these things brand new for $25,000, $26,000 loaded and kept them for over 100,000 miles. They're going to be having problems up the zoo. As they said, if they couldn't fix this transmission free, they'd buy the car back from you. But wait till you see what they pay the buyback. One fraction of what you paid for the car. You know, they always give these big promises. Oh, we'll buy it back. It's like those ads on TV. Don't worry about fixing your house. We buy any homes. Yeah, and they pay you $20,000 for a house that's probably worth $100,000. They'll buy it, but they won't give you much money for it. Oh yeah, and before I forget, these 2012s also had problems with the number 2 valve seats, and they had to have their heads replaced. The top of the engine on one side, the number 2 side, would break down and you'd have to rebuild the engine. You know, just another proof that these things were not very well made and do not hold up over time. One of the worst cars ever made, the PT Cruiser. Now, PT stands for personal transport. It turns out that Chrysler was trying to pull a fast one and call it a truck to try to raise the average cafe gas mileage in the United States, but it didn't work out that way, so it's still classified as a car, as an SUV, not as a truck. Now, these PT Cruisers were produced from 2001 to 2009. This particular one is a 2003, and right from the gate, big mistake, every single one of those was produced in Mexico. Now, here's why you should listen to Scotty and not to these nuts in magazines and award winners. It was acclaimed at one of the best 10 cars of the years when it first came out, and they called it the North American Car of the Year. Now come on now, you come out with a new model, it's made in Mexico. How can you call it the Car of the Year? One of the top 10 cars. Come on, now yes, we do have the advantage of hindsight. It's now 2019. Well, at least it was when I made this video. In the future, it'll be later, but at least you'll understand. Back when they were making these things, they had no idea how they were going to last. How can you call it Car of the Year, top 10 car? They just started making them. You got no idea what kind of quality's in them. Now, not being a Chrysler fan, even back in 2001, I didn't expect much from these things, but I really didn't expect them to be as bad as they came out. Let's start under the hood. Look at all the plastic crap. Yes? Plastic everywhere. It cracks. It breaks. Look at the cheap faded bumper. It's supposed to be black. Now it's white. Now, it's more than just superficial stuff with these. These engines are notorious for blowing head gaskets all the time. They overheat. I'd say at least 8 out of 10 ones that come here with overheating problems. First thing I do is use my block leak test. Find out, yep, the head gasket's blowing. I say, just get rid of the car. Don't go any further. Yeah, they look cute. That's how they sold 1.3 million of these clunkers. But man, looks can be deceiving in this case. Aside from the engines blowing head gaskets, the automatic transmissions were basically garbage. One, they could barely get out of their own way. Even though they kept trying to make the engines a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger, they never were all that fast. But Americans mainly drive automatic transmission. And this car, man, it had one clunker transmission. This particular one, the 2003 PT Cruiser, has a measly little 4-speed automatic. It's 3 speeds with an overdrive on it. Even though they don't have much acceleration, they don't get very good gas mileage for a car this size either. This particular one gets in the teens in stop and go traffic. gets about 18 miles a gallon. Now Chrysler's quality control, especially the ones made in Mexico, hey, it's notorious for being horrible. Those Dodge Neons were made in them. They were horrid. This is no exception. And if you ever made the mistake of buying the faster one, the one that's turbocharged, whew, that just turbocharges the head gasket blowing faster. That head gasket will blow so fast with the turbocharger around them, I've seen them go as little as 40,000 miles, and there goes the engine. Basically, it comes back to pretty much a Chrysler paradigm. They often make good-looking cars that just fall apart. You want a lawn ornament? Hey, park it on your front lawn. It looks cool, you know. But driving it every day for hundreds of thousands of miles, you can forget that, unless you got deep pockets to keep fixing it. Heck, even the heaters on these things break down. They use the cheaper heater core, and the stupid things either clog up or leak, and you gotta tear the whole dash apart to replace them. And here's the part I really don't understand. When this thing was brand new, a base model was $3,000 more than a four-door Toyota Corolla. Yeah, back then the Corolla didn't have the cool gangster styling of this PT Cruiser, but it would run circles around one of these things. There you go, 400,000 miles or more, and this thing, sure, you're lucky if you get 80 or 90 before the engine blows. If you ever owned a Chrysler Neon, you were probably smart enough to realize, I'm not going to buy its replacement because the original one was bad enough. They were handy. Seats go down in the back. You got all kinds of space to throw crap in, like my customer has all their junk in there. It makes a big locker, good storage area, but has a vehicle for dependable transportation. This is one of the last things you'd ever want to buy. Now, this one's got 118,000 miles, and believe me, it's on its last legs. We'll start it up. You can hear squeaking there, and in the back, you can hear the muffler vibrating. They just had poor, cheap build quality. Anybody in their right mind would say this is North American Car of the Year, one of the top 10 vehicles of that year. They got rocks in their head. At least if they were honest. No, I mean, if they're on the old payola, well, what the heck. A lot of people do that these days. Old Scotty does. They'll tell you the truth about these things. I have no ulterior motives other than showing people what's out there, what's good, what's bad. Over the years, I've had a lot of women buy these because they thought they looked cute, just like the minis. They buy them because they think they look cute, only to find out that cuteness is hiding an endless money pit under the hood. 6 months ago, I had a customer buy a used one, and it was a convertible. They actually turned some of these into convertibles. He had just bought the vehicle for like $900. Brought it to me a couple months after he bought it, said, what's wrong? And there it was, a typical PT Cruiser. The head gasket was blowing, the engine was overheating. He put some of the sealer in it. He bought an AutoZone. Worked pretty good, the bar sealer for head gasket leaks, and just got rid of the thing. He said, sure, I'm not going any further on that. And you can even see, look in here, it's a small engine, but there isn't much working room. And these plastic intake manifolds, they crack and warp all the time. Sides from the engine head gaskets blowing. And their air conditioning compressors, they're notorious clunkers that break down after a short period of time. Hey, these things were made in Mexico. You think at least they'd have good air conditioners. It gets hot down there, you know? It's like ages ago. The Germans, their cars had horrible air conditioning systems. A hot day in Dusseldorf is probably like 75 degrees. Now the Germans make better air conditioning systems, no arguing that. But this, hey, supposedly an American car. You'd think they could have put good AC in it, but no, it was just the usual Chrysler crap that would blow up. And the compressors would blow up long before their time. The condensers they used on them were a little bit too small, so they didn't cool it down right, so the compressors would always run hotter than other cars and then go out. I've seen that so many times, not just in the PT Cruiser, but in many Chrysler products. They try to make them too cheap to save money, then they don't hold up over time. In this case, it's a truism. Marketing trumped engineering and manufacturing in these PT Cruisers. So don't be suckered by, oh look, it's a cute little car. Maybe I'll get one for my kid to go to high school in. Don't. The engine problems, the transmission problems, the air conditioning problems, the heating problems, the electrical problems that these things had. It's truly amazing that Chrysler suckered 1.3 million people to buy these things. Now, eventually, they stopped making them in 2009. People wised up. And I guess Chrysler figured, hey, the jig's up. We can't fool people anymore. They have such a bad reputation. Nobody's going to be buying these things anymore. These SUV-type vehicles, crossovers, they're so popular these days. To fail at selling a model, That tells you there were problems and problems on top of problems with these PT Cruisers. Which leads me to the old joke, why did they make a PT Cruiser so it could comfortably hold 5 people? Well, that's so 4 of them can get out and push it, while the 5th person steers the car to the nearest garage. So now you know the truth about the PT Cruiser and why you'd really have to be out of your mind to buy one of these things used today. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.